Well, as promised, I said I would give you a kind of example and some explanation that relates to that artifact that I've posted online called My Life Library. Now, I've decided to do that as a video rather than as a paper, and I think this is a more personal way to do it. Feel free to do it this way if you want, but you certainly don't have to. So here we go, my life map. My life library. I'm a bookish kind of guy. Some would call me a book nerd, and I happily accept that title. I can't remember ever being without a book in my hand, often more than one. I grew up in a home with books, and I spent a great deal of time in the library, a particular library where I grew up in Santa Ana, California, the Julia C. Lathrop Junior High School Branch Library. I'm still that way. I still like libraries. Usually I have at least 2 books going at the time. If I showed you around my house right now, you'd see bookshelves and books in nearly every room, even the kitchen, and certainly the bathroom, which in my house is often called the reading room. I tell you that because the artifact I developed is a bookshelf, my life library. Each book on that shelf is a major theme of my life. It's not all of my life, by any means, but it's a major part, major pieces of my life. If you could blow it up so you could read it all, you'd be able to read the titles on the book spines, and you can see, if you do that, that it's quite often a dark path, a dark journey. And I don't want to diminish that. It's not all dark. The volume titled Seeking Value is about my own personal pilgrimage to seek purpose and meaning in my life. And that pilgrimage has brought about a great deal of joy and purpose and meaning in my life. In most respects, all caught up in my journey as a teacher, even today in this context, sharing with you about that. But those other volumes, the depression volume, for example, those are real and important parts of my journey. I want to call your attention to the second volume in from the left. Its title is The Death of Jeremy. Jeremy was our second child, our second son. He died 6 hours after he was born from respiratory complications. That book is, in many ways, the pivotal book of my life. Nearly everything since his death is directly related to his death. It led us to a number of decisions that were life-changing, life-damaging, and life-affirming. While we regret his death, of course, and wish still to this day that he had lived, we have striven to face up to that reality and move on, deal with life as it comes to us. That death changed me in so many, many ways, mostly good ways, even though it took me through some very dark and rocky places. But not all. Those volumes titled Depression and Decline are tied into those changes in both good and bad ways. We adopted daughters as a result of Jeremy's death. They too are game changers and have challenged us at nearly every step along the way, and in the long run, they've made me a better person than I was. I love my life. I love my family. I love the person I've become. I love my work, which also means, as distant as this is, I love you and the process we're engaged in together. I love God, and that love is joyful and often quite difficult. I'm a follower of Jesus, and that following is often joyful and quite challenging, and all those loves of my life flow through all of the volumes on that shelf of library books. Yet my life is formed by relationships, by all of those relationships, all of those loves, especially as represented in the parable of the prodigal child, which I understand to be a book, another story about who God is and who I am in relationship to God. The mantra of my life and journey is love God and love others. I'm still on that journey and eager to see where it leads.